is my review of the Eagles album, Long Road Out of Eden. It was released in 2007, produced by the Eagles. And Wikipedia says a lot of other people, but this just says them, so I don't know. But anyway, this wasn't an album that I got like early on. Wasn't the last album of theirs I got. It was the last studio album of theirs that I got, which I guess is fitting since it was their last album. I kind of just put off getting it, mainly because what I had read about it. And then finally I heard some songs from it, I think at work, and I was like, I kind of like those, so went out and found it, and yeah, it's not an album that I listen to, especially all the way through a lot. In fact, tonight was probably one of like only 2 or 3 times I've actually sat down and listened to both discs like back to back. I think that makes for kind of an exhausting listen, really. I've definitely listened to the first disc of this album a lot more than the second one. I don't think that's really going to change, but it's just, I don't know, my opinion of this album's it's gone up a little bit, but it's still not anywhere near my favorite album by these guys. I think there's just like, I don't know, there's just a few too many things wrong with it. It's definitely overlong. I really like 8 of the songs, that's about it. And the rest of them go from kind of like okay to like I could do without this. So just overall kind of an uneven album that's a little too. For the songs, I'm going to try to keep this relatively short because there's so many of them, and I'm going to be reading off my notes for pretty much most of them because I kind of don't know these songs quite as well as I do most of their albums. So the album starts out with No More Walks in the Woods. I think it's kind of a boring opening track, really. It's mostly like vocals, kind of them all singing together, and I mean, there's some acoustic guitar and stuff, but it's just, I don't know, it's not bad, and there's not really anything wrong with it. I kind of get what they're going for, but I just find it kind of a boring way to start the album. It's not really, like if I was making my own version of this album, it's probably not a track I would keep around. Second track, How Long, by J.D. Souther. This one, I think, should have been the opener for the album. It's one of the stronger tracks on it. It kind of reminds me of like something that would be on their first album, really. And I think it's a good song. It's one of the first ones I heard off this album. Definitely one of the ones I would keep around. The third song, Busy Being Fabulous by Henley and Fry. Another good song, I think. You know, it's pretty catchy, kind of like your stereotypical Henley and Fry song, I feel like, really. Yeah, another strong one that I would keep on the album if I was making a shorter version. Fourth track, What Do I Do With My Heart? Another Henley and Fry song. This one's kind of a slower song. It started to grow on me a little bit. I think it's got some good vocals from Fry. And I think that like overall I like the sound of his voice on this album better than Henley's. I'm not crazy about like the production of the vocals on this album. Or really even the production in general. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, just like what was going on in country music around this time. But yeah, I think that Fry overall kind of has a stronger album on this than Henley, at least in my opinion. So the fifth track, Guilty of the Crime, cover song sung by Joe Walsh. It's a pretty decent song for him. It's not my favorite of the 2 songs he sings on here. Sixth track, I Don't Want to Hear Anymore. Song that's a cover by sung by Timothy B. Schmidt. It's not bad. Probably a song that's going to grow on me more as I listen to it, but like not one of my favorite songs. 7th track, Wading in the Weeds. This one is by Henley and Stuart Smith, the kind of like Diet Don Felder, I guess, that they hired for this album and for the tours and stuff. This track, I like it a lot. Probably my favorite on the album. Like it's a little long, but I don't really get sick of it. I just think it's really catchy. It's got a good vocal from Henley. Pretty strong track. 8th track, No More Cloudy Days, sung by Glenn Fry and sung by Glenn Fry. This one kind of took a while to grow on me, but I started to like it, and I think it's one that I'd keep around if I was making my own version of this. 9th track, Fast Company, sung by Henley and Fry, sung by Henley. Kind of a weird vocal sound from him on this track. Kind of sounds like something from his solo career, I guess. Which kind of a lot of the ones on here do to me sound like they would come from a Henley solo album. And it's just not really one of my favorite tracks on the album. The 11th track, You're Not Alone. It's written by Fry, sung by Fry. I'm having a hard time reading my own handwriting. This one I like. It's kind of a slow country-ish song. Got a good vocal from Glenn. And then the second disc starts out with Long Road Out of Eden, the title track. For me, this one's just like way too long. It's like 10 minutes. It kind of sounds like they were trying to do another Hotel California type of thing, but I think that they could have probably cut some of the verses because some of them aren't, I don't think, the greatest lyrically. So yeah, they probably could have cut this down to like a 5-minute song and had something pretty decent, but as it is, it's kind of doesn't work for me. Second track, I Dreamed There Was No War, is a short kind of instrumental by Fry, and it's not bad. It's nice. Third track, Somebody, by Jack Tempchin and John Brannon. I think I wrote. Can't read my handwriting. Sung by Fry. This one I like quite a bit. I think it's one of the stronger tracks on the second half of the album. Fourth track, Frail Grasp of the Big Picture, sung by Henley, Fry, and Stuart Smith. Another one that sounds, I think, kind of like a Henley solo song. It's kind of enjoyable in like a cheesy sort of way. It's got this weird, like, I don't know, percussion noise kind of thing that goes on that's a little bit irritating. Fifth track, The Last Good Time in Town. Another Joe Walsh sung song written by Joe Walsh and J.D. Souther. Kind of a weird song, got these kind of goofy backing vocals that come up in it. But I think it's the stronger of the two Joe Walsh songs, really. So I like this one. I'd probably keep it around if I was doing a version of this album. Sixth track, I Love to Watch a Woman Dance, cover sung by Glenn Fry. A little bit slow and boring. Fry's got a nice vocal on it, but that's about it. Seventh track, Business as Usual, by Henley and Smith, is once again one that I think kind of sounds like a solo career a little bit. And it's not really bad, but just not really my thing, these like Henley songs on this album. The eighth track, Center of the Universe, is by Henley, Fry, and Smith. This one, musically, almost kind of sounds a little like a Hotel California type of thing, but it ends up, like, I don't know, pretty different. This one I think's kind of going to grow on me. Right now, I don't know, the chorus kind of seems like it. At first, like, I don't like it, then I do. I don't know. Haven't really made up my mind on it yet, but it's an interesting song. And then the ninth and final track, It's Your World Now, is by Fry and Jack Tempchin, sung by Fry. And I could kind of see people not liking this, I think, but I like it. I think it's a pretty strong album closer. Lyrically and all, it's kind of a fitting final song for Glenn, really, because this is his last album while they were alive. Which I didn't mention the lineup on this album, but it's basically the same as it has been minus Don Felder, so you heard of him in between the last live album and this one. So they're a 4-person band with Glenn Fry, Don Henley, Timothy B. Schmidt, and Joe Walsh. And then apparently a lot of other people playing on this. There's definitely quite a few tracks, I think, that really just don't sound like Henley at all on drums. So it's like they weren't even really trying to make it sound like it was all them. But Long Road Out of Eden, I think, like, I don't know, it's definitely their weakest studio album. It's just really uneven. I think they could have made a really good, strong single album here. But the production is not my favorite thing. It's like kind of its time, and it's definitely not my favorite time period production-wise. I don't know. I think the Glenn Fry stuff is kind of stronger than Don Henley stuff, but I guess my favorite song on here is the Don Henley song. So I don't know. They could have had a really strong, like, one disc album, but as this is, it's just kind of too many songs.